welcome to episode 171 of Gallifrey Pirate Radio. Wow, 171 episodes.
Oh my gosh, it only seems like last week we were at 170.
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, you know, it's been a while since we've actually been able to sit down and actually record together.
It's true.
It's really weird not, you know, working with you or seeing you or filming every week.
Yeah. The idea of I'm glad that at least the series more or less ended and then you move. Because if you had left halfway through Series 8, it would have been very difficult to film, I think.
Oh yeah, especially with my arrangement. But that's been resolved in just a couple of days, which I'm excited to have my own home, which means we'll have our own studio.
That'll be very cool.
It's going to be very, very cool. But we are here today to kick off a new feature, or a new segment of the show.
Sure, we can do that.
Where we're going to actually start, in order, talking about the Big Finish audios of the main range. I got to say thank you, Big Finish, for finally, I don't know how many years I've been waiting for this, for putting Series 4 of the 8th Doctor Adventures on sale. We bought them all.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Finally, and oh my God, bravo. Bravo, Series 4. We will talk about it eventually at some point.
I have to listen to them first, but
I just want to say bravo. I was very, very impressed. And Magan, you do one hell of a performance. But before we get to talking about our start on the Big Finish range, main range of Doctor Who Adventures, we're going to talk a little bit about the Christmas special. What we're hoping to get out of it, what we've seen out of the trailers, a little bit of news that's occurred since we've last been able to do an episode with news. And so let's kick it off. Sorry, I'm your host, David Beauchamp. It's been a while. I'm joined by my amazing co-host,
Drew Meyer.
So, Doctor Who news.
Well, while there's probably tons and tons of news, let's go with the only one article that's actually really important. The fact that Peter Capaldi has signed on for 2 more series of Doctor Who. So,
thank you.
Really, absolutely.
Thank
because you. Whether you like Series 8 or not, I think we can all agree that it was definitely a series where we were seeing a very slow transition for the Doctor.
Yes.
To kind of find out who he is and kind of gel into the Doctor he's going to be. Not that Peter Capaldi needed that amount of time. I'm sure if they gave him 1 or 2 notes and said, go, he would have gone.
Oh, yeah.
But we get to see at least, and that's the important thing, is he's only signed on for 2 more. It doesn't mean he's going to be leaving. It would make sense, but who knows, that Peter Capaldi is going to be on there for at least 2 more years. That's really cool.
That's exciting.
It also means that Stephen Moffat is also going to be on for a Series 9 and Series 10. What we don't know yet,
the big question mark,
is Jenna Coleman.
Oh, Jenna Coleman.
With, of course, Series 8, it looked like we had left and we weren't going to get her back. She was gone for good. But of course, speaking of the Christmas preview,
yes,
we know that she's going to be in the Christmas episode.
Which, I mean, sadly, we knew that even before Series 8 ended, that she was going to be in there. I mean, because we just knew. They made the announcements about who the cast was, stuff like that. Right. So we knew we were going to have her in there.
But just like we knew that Adric was going to show up in the next episode after Earthshock, we don't know what exactly
her role is.
Yeah. So, you know, is she supposed to be in there for the entire time? Well, we don't know that, but we know that she's going to be in there for a little bit. We just don't know if the actress is going to be joining us. I hope, personally, that we're going to see her for at least 1 more season. I would have no problems with Jenna Louise Coleman or Jenna Coleman becoming the longest running character.
Not if she keeps up these performances.
Yeah, absolutely. I think anything they write for her, she should be able to handle with no problems.
Oh yeah. So let's just
based on that.
Yeah.
Davey, the Christmas episode is, from the time of this recording, 2 weeks away. It's 2 weeks for Christmas. Actually, you know what? Before we start talking about that, Christmas presents.
Oh, Christmas presents!
It would have made more sense if I were handing you your Christmas present.
And I handed you your Christmas present.
Hand me that.
Okay, wait, okay.
And of course, So here's that.
Here's this.
Yeah. Also along with that is a batch of cookies and a very cool little piece
Yes.
of Davison pin, if I can say so
Davison
myself.
pin.
I found 2 pins. 2 pins. It was Davison and my gun. So I was good with that. So all right.
Okay.
Shh. You know what? You open it, because
Okay.
you know what this one's going to be.
Yes. And trust me, like always, I had to go to Megan for yours.
So, of course, Barnes & Noble has a 50% off sale. It did last year, did it this
Yes.
year. I wanted to make sure I got him something he didn't have. And I gotta say,
Yay.
really amazed that you didn't own Kindle, which is possibly, I think, one of the strongest of the Fifth Doctor stories.
Yes, no, I just, it's just, when you find them on sale, when you pick them up.
Sure.
And I would have taken full advantage of that sale if I wasn't buying a house.
Right, house, kind of
Yes.
important. All
And
right.
I will be painting my door fairly soon after getting that house.
I'm excited to see
Yeah.
that. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
that. It reminded me, I may have been given a can of TARDIS blue paint already.
Oh, wow.
For that purpose, I just haven't done it. Or I don't think I am now in my office. It's got enough Doctor Who stuff as it is.
Yeah.
All right. So you went to my wife how to find
I went to your wife.
It's a smart idea.
It's getting harder and harder. I have to get more and more creative and knowing what you buy and what you don't buy.
Well, here's the thing. You've got a book, and you know you can never go wrong with the book.
Yep.
Very nice. The Doctor
Yes.
Who official annual
Yes.
2015. Very good. Thank you very
Yes.
much, sir. I appreciate that.
Because I know you're a little slow on picking up the books.
It's true. The books, if I find them used, I'll pick them up.
Yes.
If I don't, yeah, so there's that. That's cool.
Yes, and we have a nice picture of Capaldi.
He's...
Oh, I did find it interesting. They have released his jacket for sale.
Have they?
Yes, and guess what guess what the price is?
How much?
Only $100.
Considering that it was, what, a $900 jacket when they...
Oh, $500.
$500 jacket.
$500 jacket, yeah.
That is very nice, because honestly, that is a very sharp... Oh, look at that.
I know, see, it has War Doctor in there, it has,
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
great.
I have a piece of news, which you might want to know about, which I was sort of taken aback by. This past week, Series 8 came out on DVD and Blu-ray.
Yes, I got my copy in the mail yesterday.
I was a little disappointed that he did not include the movie and the Christmas special.
I knew it wasn't going to include
I
the
didn't.
movie. I didn't know it wasn't going to include the Christmas special. I gotta say, the idea of actually having to spend money to get time with the Doctor separate of everything else, which means I just got to go back to Barnes & Noble. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the same thing. I'm going to have to do the same thing. Because over in England, they got a 50th anniversary box set that included that stuff. We have not gotten that. We're not going to get that here. So if we actually want the Christmas special, we actually have to go out and buy it separate, because the reason why they did not release it with Series 8, they added that into the Matt Smith years Blu-ray box set.
And you know what? I don't want to say that I'm okay with it, but I understand.
Yeah, exactly. I understand why they did it. I'm not happy that they did it.
It's money.
It is money.
It's money. And Doctor Who has become a very popular commodity.
It's their biggest moneymaker.
It is. And here's the thing. The fact that I can get Doctor Who toys and Walgreens and Doctor Who DVDs at Walmart, both in Lexington, North Carolina, which was about this big, I think that's a small price. Having to buy those individually is a small price to pay for having that kind of exposure.
And the exciting thing is character builders are now starting to appear in Targets.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll start getting the individual packs of the figures and not just the box sets.
Well, hopefully they'll start moving them back to the proper size of 5-inch figures instead of the 3 3/4. Because I understand if I want my Doctors to fight G.I. Joe, that's cool, but I have all those other great sized figures and it just seems wrong. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay, so Christmas. Well, I mean, I gotta say, bravo for the casting of Santa Claus.
Oh yeah. Nick Frost as Santa Claus.
Oh my God.
And a non-makeup laden Dan Starkey as one of his elves. So yeah, if nothing else, here's the only thing with the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
We had I can't remember his name. He was Baldric from Blackadder. We were given him as a tease, and his character barely did anything the entire time. No, I'm sorry, not Baldric. Oh God, sorry. I've had a cold, and my brain is just now coming back to play after almost 10 days of inactivity. Manny from Black Books was in the episode, and again, name I just gone. But I know they're going to use Nick Frost. You don't get a star like that.
No.
I just hope it's done well.
And it has to be better than Simon Pegg's appearance.
I like The Long Game.
I hated that episode.
It's
not as bad as some, but I thought they wasted Simon Pegg.
Oh, I agree. That was definitely not used this time.
But it looks like it's going to be a dark episode.
It does. It definitely has some very dark overtones. The first little teaser you get is fairly happy.
Yeah.
But they released this week the full length trailer, which I had seen watching the season finale. It popped on. That trailer came on at the end of the Death in Heaven when watching it live stream. So because of live stream, I got a chance to see that.
Yeah.
This doesn't look like it has a whole lot of new footage, except the following day they released a 1.5-minute long sequence of Santa, our introduction to Santa.
Which I have not seen yet. I purposely stayed away from it.
Don't watch it.
Yeah.
Don't watch it. I watched it and I regretted it. It's nothing spoilery in any way, shape, or form, but I feel like when that moment comes, I'm not going to get that same effect.
Yeah, no, I wanted to see that in context. I let myself watch the Children in Need stuff, which I thought was a great little clip.
What was that?
That's where Clara meets Santa Claus and the doctor appears.
Oh!
On the rooftop.
Yeah, I did see that. Boy, I've already seen like 4 minutes of this episode. That's weird. I've already seen a tenth of that entire
and
episode.
normally, that's me who sees all this stuff.
Yeah, I hate watching that stuff in advance. I don't know what's wrong with me.
You've been sick.
I have been sick.
So, I mean, what are you hoping that we get out of this episode?
Answers?
What sort of answers?
Well, I want to know one way or another whether Clara is going to stay or not. I think that's one of those things. I hope it doesn't leave us on a kind of will she, won't she.
Yeah.
I'm actually I know a lot of people are hoping that this Christmas special is an epilogue to the Death in Heaven.
Yeah.
Normally the Christmas special starts a story off.
Yeah.
Like the Snowman. Hey, it's kind of not the first Clara, but it's kind of moves forward with that. With this one, it really feels like it could be the epilogue to something. But I'll tell you, not only do I don't think, and I hope it isn't, that Santa is going to somehow bring about a happy ending. I know a Christmas special is supposed to be happy, even if it is as dark and gritty and horrifying and almost alien-esque as it's showing in the preview. But I hope it isn't like kind of wave a magic wand or cat or what is he wiggles his nose to go down chimneys. Right?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm hoping that he doesn't have to do that and Danny's back or anything along those lines. It would be interesting to find out if she was pregnant. If Clara's character is pregnant.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's something we talked about
in the
last episode. So Moffat, I know, has come on record to talk a little bit about the death of Oliver's character, Osgood, in Death in Heaven. And also to talk a little bit about Orson Pink. They released an article. But like any other news article that Moffat wrote,
you can't trust.
You can't trust it.
No,
so,
you can't trust it. One thing I think I'm most excited about with this episode is we finally get to see a fully regenerated Capaldi Doctor.
Yeah, it seems like he's had some growing pains for the first so many episodes of the series, and it wasn't until the graveyard sequence, the idiot speech, that we have
the Doctor. So I'm really excited to see this Doctor. Now, he's finally done cooking. He's finally who he's going to be. So I'm excited. And so how you were saying that, this is where they usually start off a story arc or something. In a way, even if it's an epilogue, it is starting something new because we're getting the Doctor finally.
Yeah, I think it's interesting if that's the case. And I think it is. We got our first glimpse of him at the end of the last Christmas episode.
Yeah.
And we're getting our first full actuated Doctor at the end of the Christmas episode. That's a really long time to do this process. I feel like, I certainly, it's good to know that we're going to get Capaldi for another 2 years.
Yeah.
I kind of would have liked to have known he was going to be in for the long game early, earlier than now, because they were playing that really close to their chest to have done so.
Yeah.
That's a very long game to.
It is. The only thing I want now is I want Turn 6 to come back and write a unit episode with the Capaldi Doctor.
God. And thinking of Dick's writing it is one thing, but just thinking Capaldi with unit, after the events of Death in Heaven. My vote is I still want to see. You want to see? Here's what I want to see.
Okay.
I want to see Capaldi playing a punk rock version of a Christmas song on guitar at the end of this episode, just rocking. I want to see Capaldi play a musical instrument. I know the actor can do it. I want to see the Doctor. I want to see the Doctor rock an instrument. It isn't the Spoons.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Or a recorder. Well, the more I think about it, I still want to see Susan. I still want to see Ian. I just want little things like that. And going back to some news, which I don't know why I didn't think about it, two of the little news segments, because I think it sort of ties in Death in Heaven, is that we're getting a series of novels based on Young Brigadier.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about those.
Yes, which takes place after Web of Fear, but before the Doctor.
Right, he's not quite before the invasion, so he's not the Brigadier yet. He's Colonel Lethbridge Stewart.
And two, the Hartnell Christmas, Merry Christmas they released.
The what now?
BBC every year releases a thing with all their shows with little Christmas clips, kind of previews. Well, they pulled the audio from the Feast of Stephen.
Right.
And the very beginning of their Merry Christmas thing to everybody this year was Hartnell saying Merry Christmas to the masses.
Oh, but it's not the full clip.
No. It's
okay.
Yeah, no.
I thought you said they discovered a copy of the full clip and animated it.
No.
Okay.
It's just I think that was really cool.
Okay.
Which also brought up that I didn't know this happened is back in '83, if I have my dates right, we had another clip of before he actually took control of the TARDIS of Davison with his crowded crew wishing Merry Christmas to everybody.
Oh, really?
Yes, and it's just he's just and the companions had to push down his arm so they could be seen. Yes, and just other little tidbits of Christmas there.
That's cool. Hey, if we're jumping on news tangents, that should have been written down.
Yeah.
The Underwater Menace is going to be released in 2015.
Animated,
no less. So we're going to get both episodes, and then we're going to get some animated films.
Which makes me hopeful that we might get Crusade like that too, because it's only missing 2. Because honestly, we used to report a bit on the Omni rumor and stuff. It is dead. It is so dead. It isn't funny. But I still think that we might get something. If we're going to get anything, it's going to be at Easter time when BBC, or it might be Easter time when BBC starts their online service for digital content.
Right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I listened to The Crusade recently.
Yeah.
It's a really good story. As far as historicals go, it might not be a fantastic one to watch, but it was a really good one to listen to.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame that even if we have 2 episodes of it, there's no reason for them not to animate it. I mean, if they're going to animate Reign of Terror, then we should be able to get The Crusade.
Oh, I agree. So, yeah, and it looks like we're gonna have a very creepy episode of the Christmas special with these. I guess it's some sort of
with those tiny little elves.
Yes,
oh,
some sort of xenomorphic alien.
Yeah, you know, it gets to a bit where a slimy black creature can't open his mouth without dripping acid. You can't immediately think xenomorph. But you're right. It does.
Even some of the sounds.
Yeah, little hissing sounds.
Which honestly, I did not realize. Totally tangent. We haven't done this in a while. And a prior episode, proper. I did not realize William Hurt was an alien.
What?
Not William Hurt. John Hurt, the doctor.
Yeah.
I did not realize he was an alien.
Really?
Really.
Wow. Okay.
It's been a long time since I've seen Alien.
It's been a while too. In fact, the Classic Horrorcast just finished doing Videodrome.
Oh, what a great movie!
It's a great film, and they're doing Alien next.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I gotta watch Alien again. I right before LIU, I went back and watched Alien 3. The director's got the full long version of it. But no, Alien is certainly worth going back to.
Yeah, no, it just because honestly, I was just looking at autographs and for a certain John Hurt, because I know he is going to be a tough one for me to get, because I almost have a complete set of autographs now of doctors, partway thanks to you, and I was just like, Alien? Just like, really? No clue. So that was a nice little discovery on my part.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I haven't seen that one as many times as I've seen Aliens.
Wait. This will blow your mind even more. He's also in Spaceballs.
Yes, in the diner scene.
Right, because it's the same part as getting a chest burster.
Yeah.
Right. Not going to blow anyone's mind.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. No. So let's move on to Sirens of Time.
Yeah. Basically, just short and sweet, we're both very much looking forward to
Christmas.
I'm going to be watching it at Geeksboro with the group. I'm pretty sure.
I don't even know where I'm going to be.
I know. I was thinking the exact same thing. Well, bring my age. Come out there.
I might. Honestly,
You have to watch it with commercials, and that's the only downside. But you get to watch it on Christmas Eve with a bunch of fans. Well, it doesn't come out at the same time, so it comes out in the evening, so it's Christmas. Oh, sorry, Christmas night. I meant to say Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Right, I'm sorry, Christmas
Day
at night.
That might be a possibility, a real strong possibility, as long as we get tickets.
Oh, right, that's true. We'll have to see about that.
But yeah, no, I think that'd be a lot of fun to do. But yes, this is something that we've talked about doing for a very long time.
You and I have talked about several of the audio dramas before.
But not the Big Finish. Wait, no, we did talk about
Slipback.
That was not Big Finish.
Oh, you're right.
Yes.
What Big Finish have we talked about?
The only one we've talked about that I could think of was Light at the End.
God, did we ever actually do a Light at the End and the...
No, we've just done Light at the End. That is all we've done.
Wow. Really?
Yes.
I don't remember the
episode. Yes, it was a long time. It was shortly after it came out we did it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So it's almost over a year. So Drew and I have been talking about actually going back and reviewing the Big Finish audios.
I think it's safe to say that we are not going to do one per week.
No.
Through the entire range. We know that there's over 180 in the main range. That there's also
well, no, and they're still coming out. The main range has not ended.
I'm saying there's currently 180 or more in the main range. There's Paul Magante's offshoots. There's tons of stuff. What we're probably going to do is
highlight the big ones. The big ones.
Well, yeah. Because I know that there's some that I've listened to that are like, I don't really need to listen to that a second time.
And here's the thing: it's like when we talk about the Magan stuff, we can talk about it by series.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Once he leaves the main range.
And the other thing is, folks, if you are planning on listening to these and you haven't yet, we're going to try to be as little spoilery as we can, but we're not that. It's not like the episodes that have just come out where we are going to talk about every single detail. With these, we'll try, but sometimes if you want
10 years.
Oh, it's not like...
honestly, I think this is 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around for a decade. I mean...
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. My guess is if you're a fan of the show and you're watching the show, chances are you're probably a fan of watching Doctor Who, and you might not be part of the audio range or the book range. There's a lot, and that's the thing.
Well, 2 years ago is when we first really discovered the audio range.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that was when it was still like 8 years old. I mean, so people are discovering the audio range all the time. I know I did something for Aaron at the Huffington Post about, what are some good ones for people to start with? What are some ones they should avoid until they've, got their feet wet in the audios? So, I mean, it's something that's been there a long time, but especially here in America, I don't think a lot of people know about them.
Yeah, I agree. And certainly the exposure via BBC has increased recently with BBC mentioning it. But,
well, I mean, BBC Radio 4 airs the Big Finish audios.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to radio in so long. Anyway, let's talk about
Sirens of Time. It was their very first audio for Doctor Who.
Yeah, written by Nick Briggs, which, duh.
Yeah.
And this is an episode for 5, 6, and 7.
Yes, because I guess they wanted to start it off big.
Well, it would make sense. I mean, if you were going to just do one Doctor, and you know that Tom Baker wasn't going to do it with you, and this is, of course, before the relaunch of the show.
Yeah.
Why not?
And if you really want to, hook people's attentions, I mean,
you go big or you go home.
You go big or you go home. You create your own version, in a sense, of the 3 Doctors, and you get Sirens of Time.
Yeah, and I guess with this, Davison at the point in time was the only Doctor who was really... No, I take that back, because Colin Baker got a chance to work with Troughton. I was going to say, McCoy hadn't really got a chance to work with any other Doctors at this point in time, and I'm not including that.
You have to include that. Yes.
No.
Yes.
It doesn't work. It's not canon. I mean, it's canon to somebody, I'm
How
sure.
can it be canon? It's not even Doctor Who, but yeah, no. Yeah,
Oh no, you were thinking of Arizona Solution,
Yes,
weren't you?
I was.
No, I was thinking about the one where the Ronnie sends them to meet the EastEnders.
Oh.
Oh God.
Dimensions in Time.
Dimensions in Time. I love the fact that I don't love the fact. You gotta bring Arizona Solution to LI Who this year.
Oh yeah.
Just in case shower scene. Okay.
Maybe we can do a private screen with all the podcasters and do just a running commentary.
Yeah, we do an MST3K.
Yeah.
Sirens of Time. So, Sirens of Time is a 4-parter. We get 7th Doctor, 5th Doctor, 6th Doctor, and then all 3 of them together.
Yes.
Before we begin talking about specific details, what did you think of this one? As far
honestly,
for a first effort, what did you think?
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I mean, did they have some audio problems? Yes.
Oh, sure.
I mean, there's some problems, but I mean, for the most part, I think they captured the spirit of the show.
Yes.
And I really felt that all 3 actors fell back into their parts relatively easily without the crux of their companions.
Yes, that is true. That we don't get any companions in this one. I mean, they're makeshift ones, but they don't last.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any of the classic ones because one thing that has always been really incredible with Big Finish audios after this is we always have classic companions. We always have somebody, and some more surprising, because I just wasn't expecting them. But yeah, they do this. I mean, without the crux or with the prop of one of their proper companions.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was that they didn't get to them or they decided that maybe that's just this time you start.
I think it was let us put the Doctors in the spotlight because you just don't make this without already knowing what you're going to do for the rest of the year, or at least for the next 6 months. So I mean they knew what they were going to be doing, and honestly, I mean what you want to see is an adventure with those 3 Doctors. Would have been great with some companions, but I mean, you come to this to see the beginning of Big Finish and the return of those Doctors, those actors and those parts of the Doctor.
I would argue that having the companions there actually would probably have made this a little bit more chaotic. So essentially, the story goes for each of the first 3 episodes, the Doctor has a solo adventure in which they find themselves in a situation where at the end of the adventure, they cannot get back into the TARDIS. They get locked out of the TARDIS. There's no real big surprise at that one. And they're, the 4th story, the 3 of them are brought together, and it turns out that each one of their adventures from their first individual stories has, in a way, affected the timeline that brought them all together. But what I think is actually really impressive is how they began this story, and that is with just before the invasion of Gallifrey, by an unknown group, and the fact that it is the Doctor who is responsible for this. We also get our first introduction to the CIA, which now I don't remember what CIA is.
The Celestial Intervention Agency.
Celestial Intervention Agency.
Yes.
And Venzel, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Venzel, we find him again. The next time we see him is sometime within the first 10 stories, because I know I just finished listening to one with him, and I was like, wait a second, I gotta go back and listen to Sirens of Time again and see if there's anything I'm supposed to get out of that.
Which I gotta say, again, bravo, Big Finish, the way you do weave these together. Sometimes you don't think that stories are gonna connect, because you're jumping from Doctor to Doctor to companion to companion for a while, but in the back of your guys' minds, there's something that's connecting everything.
I think you're right too when they more or less had that first year's worth of storylines. I think the first 12 to go along with, and I think having the companions probably would have kind of muddled it a bit.
It would have taken longer to get the story done.
Yeah. Gosh, without giving anything away.
I mean, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I gotta say, it's not even sound quality. I think I found the secondary characters, the non-Doctor characters, to be a little bit more interesting than the Doctors in this story. And I don't know if it was just them hoping that the Doctors would be a big enough draw, and then you'd have to create somebody really interesting to kind of compete with the kind of, I don't know, the aura that those guys create. So I found the secondary character, especially the first story of the strange jungle where all the ships are crashing randomly, I found them very interesting. I found the idea of the 5th Doctor on a German submarine in World War I want to see that episode. Listening to it was kind of a bit dull, I hate to say it. I think watching young Peter Davison getting flustered and trying to pretend to be a Nazi spy, I think would have been amazing. And I think Davison is a really good voice actor. But Colin Baker outshines all of them. He really, I think, he and Paul McGann, I think, really have found their niche as Doctors in the audios. I think both of them.
Like I said, I think especially Colin, he got a chance to be the Doctor.
Yeah.
Because I think during the Trial of the Time Lord, he was becoming the Doctor.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And then he gets his chance to be the Doctor finally in the Big Finish audios, and he takes it and he runs with it. And
he gets to be the Doctor Unbound too. He doesn't have to be worried about television budgets either. He gets to be the Doctor in your mind, which is try to imagine his coat right now. He did a great job. And then when all 3 of them get together, it's very funny. I mean, I think they really play the yucks up a little. I don't want to say too much, actually. I think it was an appropriate
I think it was well balanced, and I thought they had great chemistry together. Because sometimes you worry that when you bring these personalities together, because I mean the Doctor is a personality, and the actors that get to play the Doctor has to be able to fill that role of the personality, and they had great chemistry together.
You had mentioned earlier this is their chance to basically make the 3 Doctors, and I think they did make 3 Doctors, with the exception of they didn't make the 3 Doctors where one of the Doctors is just on the television screen. They got a chance, but there's definitely some headbutting, just slightly, but it
all seemed in person. in their own personalities.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I thought.
They are definitely the characters, and they are fully realized doctors in their own right. Absolutely.
And I think two things we should mention is that, you know, two people we had actually in this story. We have Mark Gatiss playing a couple of roles.
Yeah, he definitely threw his hat into the ring with quite a few of the characters' roles. Yeah.
And then the interesting one, because I didn't realize she had been a part of Big Finish and the Doctor Who range from the very beginning, actress-wise, not character-wise, but Maggie Stables.
Right.
Who just passed away
not
a
month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course she plays Evelyn Smythe.
Oh, what a great character.
But, you know, I guess if you have your actors in place for the first year's worth, she does show up in the fifth or sixth.
Even if you have her written, it doesn't mean you have those roles cast.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and she, boy, her character is it's just so weird. That relationship, the seventh Doctor story, is just odd. It's just odd. Okay. So would I recommend it? Absolutely. If you are looking to get into Big Finish audio, and if you're a completionist, I recommend this one. Definitely start with this one. If nothing else, as you move through the Big Finish catalog, and I've tasted the fruit from later episodes, but I'm now trying to do what I did with Doctor Who in the show, is I'm trying to start from the beginning and listening to everything. And I will say this, there's a couple episodes that I don't particularly want to review on our show.
I mean, I'll be honest, I was, and I mean, it pains me to say this, I mean, honestly, I'll say episode 2, Phantasmagoria, was by far, so far, I hate to say it, I mean, it had Davis in there, was one of the worst audios they've done.
I haven't liked many of the Davison ones.
Well, I will say this, I haven't liked the Davison ones with Turlo.
Yeah.
I did like the one with Perry.
That was interesting. Yeah, that's something we'll have to talk about too. Yeah, I like the idea that Davison and, the Fifth Doctor and Perry went on more than one adventure together. I didn't love it, but I think it was certainly interesting.
So, on a scale of 1 to 5, where would you rate Sirens of Time?
Oh, well, I'd say a pretty solid, like, 3-5. Mainly because I think they're still finding their feet.
Oh, yeah.
And so I have to give them credit for that. Quality-wise, it's not as good as the later productions, and it's never going to be. Especially since there are very few audio dramas that have even come out prior to Big Finish, which I know they had their hands with. They're not newbies here. It's very professional. Story-wise, I feel it's a fairly weak story in that it doesn't excite me that much, and that the kind of climax of the story, the Doctors really don't do much. It reminds me a little bit of Series 8, where it's a lot of the situations they get themselves in, and the fact that the Doctor plays a fairly passive role in the outcome of it. But concept-wise, it's very good. This is one of those things where, and no fault to Nick Briggs to doing it. I can't imagine how hard it is to write an audio script. Were they to write this story now, after having been exposed to the television show and how it uses timey-wimey, especially Stephen Moffat, I think this story, if they ever wanted to re-record this, they could tweak the script just a little bit and make it definitely a better polished piece.
Yeah, for me it's a 4.
Yeah.
Just because I was excited, and of course, I mean, a lot of times I'm more excited about things than Drew is in certain aspects.
I think I'm a harsher critic.
You definitely are. But when I don't like something, I really don't like something. Right. For me, this was like, it's really cool to see where they began. I almost said like Magan. You got to see the beginning. It's kind of like, I'll show people the 11th hour, but then I want to show them an unruly child.
Right.
I listened to all this other stuff, especially the Magan stuff, and I'll always like to see where they started from.
Sure.
And I got to say, they started on some really stable ground. They really built a really good foundation with that first story. And like you were saying earlier, go big or go home. And they tried to go as big as possible.
I think had I been aware of Big Finish when it first came out, and I was exposed to this, I certainly, especially with no Doctor Who on TV, I absolutely would have been hooked.
Oh, yeah.
And I would have been hooked from the beginning. Bad stories or no, I probably would have fought it each and every one of them. So,
yeah. So you have it. It's about a 3.5 from Drew. It's a 4 from me. It's definitely worth. It's one that typically goes on sale quite often because they want people to be able to experience the very first one.
Sure.
So I mean, definitely check that one out. And we'll always make mention of whenever Big Finish has sales and stuff like that. But I mean, this is I think a really good place to start if you want to start at a beginning.
Right.
There's some other things I'd recommend if you want to start with later on with the higher production values, stuff like that. But I think this is for their first attempt, with what they did, I think they did a hell of a great job.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to add to this episode of GPR, our really first proper episode in about a month?
It's good to see you.
It's great to see you.
If I don't see you before Christmas, have a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Hopefully we can get together to watch the Christmas episode.
Yes.
If not, we'll get together shortly thereafter to do a review. I know that you will, as our audience, will get a chance to watch some of the interviews I did at LI Who.
Yes.
But we will be back with probably the next full episode will be a review of the Christmas special.
Review the Christmas special.
And once you get your house
at
basically the beginning of the 2015, then the fun will begin.
Yeah, then it's going to get really interesting here at GPR.
So
exciting times.
All right.
The wind is blowing in the right direction.
Just go upwind of
So this is GPR signing off. Until next time, peace.